Steve Barcelo, Cryptozoology Paranormal Museum. We're back up following up on the sighting that was yesterday, 8:30 in the morning. We did shoot a video yesterday. Some of you might have saw it. Almost 800 of you saw it. I was asked to please shoot another one, so she didn't want her face on camera. So we're back here. We're going to go over what happened yesterday. We've done a lot of exploring today. I'm out here today with George and Johnny. But we're going to get into what happened with her yesterday and some of the things that she's thought of since I came out yesterday that's happened around here in the last 8 years.
8 years.
All right, so tell me what happened yesterday.
I was sitting at my desk looking out the window. The dogs were out here, and I noticed them going up the driveway, which they're not allowed to go up the driveway unsupervised. So I knocked on the window, and they stopped. And when I looked, there was something standing there. I'm going to say something. It was just solid black, black fur coat. I'm thinking along the lines of like a flapper coat or conduct men.
Big furry coat, yeah.
Big furry coat. But I wouldn't say it was hooded. There was hair on the top, but the complete face was leathery and black looking. The whole person or animal looked black. And I'm like, what? It didn't quite register until I was walking through the house to call the dogs back. And then I'm like, what was that? That wasn't a person. It's 8:30 in the morning. It's 32 degrees out there. Nobody would be walking around here. But when I got to the door, I could no longer see it because of the branch of one of the trees. But the dogs were still looking at it. The one dog turned and looked at it and looked at me like, and turned around and came home like, I'm not going there. The other one, the baby, she was standing there looking at it, and she kept looking at me like, Mom, are you seeing this? I could not see it, but I watched this. It was headed in a westerly direction, and I kept watching to see it progress on down the road, and I never did. And
that's through the clearings, through the trees here, where if someone was walking down the road to a neighbor's house, they would reappear in those clearings in the trees.
Yeah, the house at the very end of the road has children that will come out here and walk, and I will bring the dogs in.
Right.
And I watch them, and once they get to a safe distance, I let the dogs back out. Not that the dogs will bother them, except...
Well, your dogs are friendly. They came running up to greet us. I mean, it's so weird that these things are standoffish or something going by out there. So,
well,
instead of greeting them.
The oldest one really is peculiar. He jumps up on the UPS truck. He's fearless.
Yeah.
But his attitude was no.
Yeah.
Don't want any part of this.
Now, some of the photos you sent me yesterday, after I left here, you showed me some on your iPad. But you've gotten prints in the snow. You've gotten prints in the backyard. We actually found some prints you guys are going to see in the video later out in the woods. They weren't castable, unfortunately, because it's just on leaf litter and stuff. But one of them we found appears to be 18 by at least 8 wide. And plus you caught this very unusual eyeball, like right up on top of one of your game cameras.
Yes, I caught that probably a year and a half ago. Surprisingly, unexpected. It's just a camera that marks the driveway, so we can see vehicles coming in and out of here if we're not home.
Right.
Eventually there will be a gate at the end of the drive. And I had a horse, I have had dogs, I've had deer. Deer is a big thing. But that one particular picture, and I didn't make this association until now. The picture's over a year old.
Right.
But there's a hand up. And I was like, well, somebody's a contortionist to get their hand turned, blocking their eye like this picture. And then I said, well, maybe it was somebody else's hand or something else's hand. Maybe there were two. It
looks weird. It's a weird looking eye too. If you don't mind, I'm going to post it in this little video.
No, that's fine.
Especially since it's just me talking. It'd be very boring, people just staring at me as you talk. So I'm going to place a lot of her photos in there and some of the stuff we've caught here, some of the weird structures, X's. I mean, I'm not a big tree structure guy. Johnny's here. Johnny's much better at it than me. But there's some X's we found out here that are literally purposely wedged between trees. And I've measured them. One is like a piece of fence. It's 8 foot by about 4 foot high, and it's obviously intentional. None of the trees are from that area. George got another area where a tree was dragged over and suspended. I'll post that photo too. It's just crazy. I mean, now you've had a story you told me, I guess it was this morning, But about when you first moved in, your husband had this weird howling noise early in the morning, woke you up.
Yes. Over the past 8 years, things are just now starting to, the pieces of the puzzle are getting
Right.
together. We've had a very strange 8 years. We were here the first year, and my husband woke me up. He usually left me sleeping because he'd get up at the crack of dawn to head for Virginia. And he woke me up and he said, "Babe, I need you to get up and listen to this." And I'm like, well, whatever it was, we have 2 acres cleared here. Whatever it was stayed within the tree line because we were shining the light out trying to see whatever this was. Right. It stayed in the tree line and it made a complete circle around the house. And I'd say, 20 to 30 feet, it would stop and howl. Then it would move farther, and it was moving around from north to west, south, and came back to the eastern part of, and then it howled and went on. Now I'm hearing it for the first time, so it made 2 loops around the house before it left. I just started, that came back to mind, and actually listening, I started looking into more things with your videos.
Right.
And someone was imitating a howl.
Mm-hmm. It's probably the PBS piece.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was. Scared the dickens out. It was the same thing.
Same kind of howl.
Same howl. I just clicked off of it. Didn't want to hear it again. It's a very eerie howl.
Yeah.
And it, I've heard wolves, I've heard coyotes, I've heard bear, but that was just I couldn't begin to describe it. Somebody can duplicate it.
Yeah. We got quite a few guys that go out there and do the howls. We generally don't. We're more just trying to be passive and investigate. It's just our technique. This thing's going to blow over here any minute.
I'm going to put my feet on it.
But, all right, I just wanted to re-interview you on this. Thank you so much for being willing to come forward and let us come onto your property and investigate. We really appreciate it. We're going to do as much as we can today. At least looks like the threat of rain's going away, which is good. But we'll probably talk to you about coming back and actually spending an evening out here, actually out in the woods and really, doing an overnighter and investigating too.
Well, we've been fully aware that something's going on around here, but we've been of the mindset it's bear.
Right.
My husband has a friend that's a avid hunter, and the last pictures I showed him, he said, "Well, that's not bear. The heel print's too wide." And he said, "You've got a pretty good print there," but he said, "I don't know what that is."
Yeah.
And then that conversation actually occurred Saturday a week ago, but I didn't think no more of it. And then Monday, when I saw whatever I saw,
This thing walked by the end of your driveway.
things have just started clicking and memories have coming back of things that's happened, and now I'm a little more susceptible to listen.